The problem with healthcare is it costs too much. It costs too much for you, your employer, government. So whatever they do, they've got to treat states fairly. Like right now, in our basic Medicaid plan, we get $14 billion from the federal government. We're bigger than New York with more people on Medicaid, and they get $23 billion from the federal government. Tell me how that's fair. So whatever they come out with, they've got to treat all states fairly. We all pay our taxes, and they've got to come out with a plan that's going to reduce the cost of health care. That's the problem. So I look forward to seeing what they're going to come out with, but it's got to be fair to the states, and it's got to drive the cost of health care down so you can afford it and your employer can afford it.
So right now in Florida, the last fiscal year, about $22 billion in Medicaid funding, spending there. You say about 4 million people in Florida are on Medicaid. Right. So what happens to them if this rolls back?
Well, what they need to do is give us, well, first off, we didn't do the expansion.
Right.
So that won't impact us if they change that. What I care about is treat us fairly. On top of that, give us the money. I've figured out how to provide high quality health care for less money. Half the cost of New York. Half the cost of New York, and we have more people on Medicaid. So they should give us the money, let us figure it out. I ran the largest hospital company in the country. I know what it takes to figure out how to provide a high-quality product at a price that our taxpayers can afford. So give more flexibility to the states.
Let's talk about these state waivers as well. It was a big sticking point in getting the deal closed in the House, and basically it would allow states to decide whether or not all insurance companies are required to have all these essential health care benefits, or they can tailor things differently. There's been a lot of skepticism about getting that passed through the Senate. What kind of things would help you as far as giving states more autonomy in making these decisions?
Well, think about it. I care about the 21 million people that live in my state, so you should give me complete autonomy. By the way, our taxpayers are the one that paid for this. We send the money to Washington, D.C., and then it comes back with strings attached. So they should give us flexibility. Now, I want to make sure people get health care. Now, whether you're on our Medicaid plan or you have a private insurance plan or employer plan, whatever it is, I want you to get health care. But we can figure out the rules for our state. We don't need the federal government telling us how to do it. We can do it less expensively, better access, better quality.
What do you say to those people, though, who say this is another quote-unquote heartless part of the plan, because if you allow states to get these waivers, and there are backup plans, you have to have high-risk pools and those kinds of things, but it hurts older people, it hurts those with pre-existing conditions, and it puts them in jeopardy either of not having coverage or that it's priced beyond what they can afford.
Well, first off, it's priced beyond what they can afford right now. Obamacare has been a disaster. Costs have spiraled out of control. That's I ran a group to try to stop Obamacare back in 2009. That's what we said. It's going to spiral out of control. It is. So it's heartless when you say there's some health care out here, but you can't afford it. So what we need to do is figure out how to do it less expensively. Look, we have to cover pre-existing conditions, and we should. We should allow you to stay on your parents' plan until you're 26. We should. But we should give you get to choose what type of health care you want. Why does the government need to tell you what you should buy? So give consumers the opportunity to choose the health care they want. That's the problem with the Democrat Party. I have a super PAC, and the problem with the Democrat Party is they want government to dictate everything. We all want freedom. We all want choice. We need to go and talk about freedom, options, choice. We're not for big government. We're for limited government, but say in a manner that people understand it.
I know that PAC is aimed at really plugging into 2018 and the midterms that are going to be so critical. They generally aren't good for the president in power, for his party in power in the White House. But we've seen in these special elections, while Republicans have triumphed, the gap has been much closer than it would have been expected to be in many of those districts. Sure. So how do you fight that back for 2018? Can you? Well,
the PAC is New Republican. You can go to newrepublican.org. What you got to do is do exactly what Karen Handel did. Talk about the issues. What are the issues? Talk about jobs. Talk about repealing and replacing Obamacare. I mean, Congress has got to do what they got elected to do. I don't care what's going on. I'll do your job.